Hello, this is the demonstration of Docker on Top, a Docker plugin that implements a volume driver for mounting host directories into containers using the copy on write technique, and I'm going to demonstrate how to use it. On the left, we're going to run Docker on Top and see the log that it outputs, and on the right, we will interact with Docker. So to start Docker on Top, we just need to execute the executable, with sufficient permissions. And this line right here indicates that it has successfully started. To use it, we need to first create a volume, which I do with docker volume create. I also have to specify the driver, as I'm going to use a Docker on Top volume, and its name. Let it be hello dot, where dot is for Docker on Top. This is not enough though. As I said earlier, Docker on Top is used for mounting host directories. So I need to associate one when creating a volume. In the context of plugin, these directories are called base directories, thus the name base, which I need to provide as an option. And let it be my desktop, for example. Now the volume is successfully created. So I should be able to run a container and mount it there. Let me try that. I will run it with some default options and mount hello dot to say /dot. I will run Arch Linux as an example, but it doesn't really matter. When I do this, the Docker daemon issues a couple of commands to the plugin, one of which is mount, which causes it to actually perform the mount. One can verify that by running the mount command on the host, which will output the list of all currently mounted volumes, among which you can see this one, Docker on Top hello dot, which is mounted to /var/lib Docker on Top hello dot mount point, which is some internal directory of the plugin. It has the type overlay. The overlay file system is doing most of the magic for us, and it contains a couple of technical options. Now, of course, I am now able to access the files that I have on my desktop. You can verify that it's my desktop indeed. I can not only read them, which is quite simple, but also write to them. I'm going to demonstrate this on the Steam desktop file, which is probably one of the most important files on my computer. And I will now overwrite it. Look, I do echo 123 to /dot /steam.desktop. That's it. It's overwritten. If I try to read from it, I will see 123. And the previous contents are probably lost forever. Or maybe not. I mean, of course they are not, because we're using Docker on Top, which is using the copy on write technique. So from the host, I am still able to access the same file with the unchanged contents. What's more interesting is, when I exit the container, the Docker daemon issues the unmount command, which causes the plugin to unmount everything. And as I ran the container with the --rm key, the container is removed immediately. I can verify this by running docker container ls-a. This container is gone. However, if I start a new container and mount the same volume, I will still be able to see the changes that I've made earlier. Steam desktop says 123. Now, even more interesting, I can use the same volume in several containers simultaneously. For example, let me run, let's say Ubuntu bash again. And in here, I can still see the changes made by the previous runner and make my own changes to the same file or maybe some other file. Let's see. Franbau, like this. And of course, these changes will be accessible by all the other containers. All that with the host file remaining unchanged. Here it is. One more scenario. Let's say our plugin got killed. Now, when we restart it, unfortunately, it isn't currently capable of recovering the list of volumes that we previously created. It's one of the features that we were going to implement, but unfortunately didn't have enough time. However, your changes are never lost. If you run the create command again, if you create a volume with the same name, and then use it inside of a container, you will still be able to recover the changes that you've made. Now, When you're finally done with your volume, you can do the docker volume rm command and specify the volume name that you want to remove. This issues another kind of command to the plugin, which causes it to remove everything, discard your changes, and clean up. We can verify this either by looking at its internal directories. No, that was right. var lib docker on top. This directory became empty because there are no volumes left. Or we could also recreate the volume with that name again and try to run some container with it. And we will see that our previous changes are lost. We can now again see the original contents of the file. I think this is it. Thank you.